Hey guys, it's Joe Young, and today on my writing tip video, I'm talking about how to create character-driven stories. So, let's get started. Okay, so we're going to talk about how to create a character-driven story. And what I'm going to do is break this video into two parts. The first part will focus on how to create an imperfect character, and the second video will be about how to take that imperfect character and help create that character-driven story. So, let's talk about character. Characters are the heart and soul of your book. They're the most important thing. If you have a flawed or have a character that is flat or two-dimensional, or let's say they're just perfect at everything they do, they look perfect, they act perfect, they never make mistakes, your story is not going to be compelling to readers. Readers relate to people, like to characters in your story, that are imperfect, that are human, that they make mistakes, they're flawed. And not flawed like in a writing technique that there's something missing with that character, you know. It is actually that they're flawed like a person, they make mistakes. And it's because of those mistakes and the way that they overcome those mistakes, or maybe they don't, is how we as readers relate to those characters. It was super important to make your character relatable. They can be this awesome, amazing warrior, but they have to have something that they are flawed or maybe insecure about to make our readers care about those characters. Now, so we're going to talk about how to create a character and how I create a character list. I have a form that I use, and I use this for my writing club as I help them create their characters. I am right now tweaking this form, getting ready for the new year, and I will upload this form that I use on my blog on Wednesday. If you follow me on Facebook, on my Freaks page, I will post on Wednesday when I have the form perfected and ready for the next year, and I will upload that on my blog and on my Facebook page. So make sure to follow me there, and you can check out if you want to download the blog or copy how I do it. But it's really, you can do this yourself. You can write on a piece of paper, you can create your own form, or you can just jot down some notes. There's pretty much really not anything you need this special form to do. So here we go. Let's start making our character list. Okay, so first up on the character list is description. So every author usually loves to describe their characters to their heart's content. So here you have free reign to describe and write paragraphs to pages, however much you want to describe your character, or as little as you want to. But make sure you and your character, you include the important elements of your character, perhaps certain features that are important. Do they have scars, birthmarks, something about their looks, or perhaps they have white wings, something that is important to your character that may be important to plot elements in your story. And also you can write here about what things they like to wear, kind of get their personality down, or maybe they don't have a choice and like they're a minor in my story, the Freaks, they're assigned clothing. So make sure to add those elements into your description to help you stay consistent. Also, about being consistent, I have found in my experience when writing a story, sometimes you forget exactly what your character's eye color, maybe if you mentioned it, or if they had gotten wounded in a battle and you didn't write that note down, and when you read later on as you go proofread, you're like, oh, I forgot they had the scar there. So make sure it's something that happened to your character that will change the way they look. You add that to your description. This will help you stay consistent through your story, and if you're doing a series, through your series. Because remember, character lists are a living, breathing. They change with our characters and grow with our characters. So if something does change in them, be sure to take time when you get done writing that section to add and edit your character list to keep it up to date. So now we're talking about the emotional state of our characters. Here's where we're going to kind of dive in and flesh out our characters and get an understanding of how they react in certain emotional situations. So first start with the first, basic emotion, happy. What makes them happy? How they react when they're happy. What makes them sad? How they react when they're sad. What makes them angry? How they're angry. You kind of go through those emotions and just kind of figure out what triggers those emotions and how they react in those situations. You don't do this for every single entire emotion that's on the spectrum, but definitely do it for the major emotions that your character will experience in the book. Especially if there's something in particular the character's go through the most. I definitely recommend taking time to sit down and think about your character and how they react. And maybe as your character goes through your arc of your story and they progress, maybe their emotions change, maybe they mature, or maybe they get torn down so much that emotion's easily triggered. So definitely think of how your character will progress in the story, and then as your story progresses, be sure, like I said earlier, go back change, edit, make a note, say, okay, now the character at this point in the story is at this point in their emotional state. So make sure you kind of understand your character's head and where they're at and how they react to certain situations. So the next step is basic information. So here you want to put down, pretty much like it sounds, all the basic stuff: your character's age, their birth date, their family, their siblings, any relation, anything that's really important to your character. Their likes, their dislikes, their favorite things. Perhaps they like the smell of rain, which you could also would react to emotional state. Perhaps the emotion of smelling the rain makes them happy. So make sure you include that stuff into your basic information. Actually, some important elements or things you think is important to your character to help you stay consistent through your story, and if you're doing a series as well. So now we're here to one of my favorite parts of character development, the negative stuff, the imperfections, the secrets, the flaws, so that way it makes your character human, fleshes them out. Okay, so first up, a flaw. Think of a flaw of your character, something that matches your story that you're trying to portray and matches your character. You don't want something to be kind of out of character. You want to match in with them. For example, perhaps your character is Bruce Banner, early Bruce Banner, right? And let's say his flaw is quick to anger. He is in a situation where he wants to decipher this clue and use and be rational and be intelligent and not turn into the Hulk. But he's trying to keep focused, but something is irritating him, something is causing all this high tension that's making him angry. So he's having a hard time controlling those emotions of staying calm. So his flaw would be quick to anger. Also, next up on the list, think about something that is your character's greatest fear, something that scares them more than anything in the world, that they do not want to happen. And make sure you use that against your character. We're authors. We're not nice to our main characters or any of our characters in a story. And so make sure you use their fear against them. This is early Bruce Banner character we're creating here, is afraid of being alone. Aloneness is his greatest fear. But being quick to anger, perhaps maybe it makes his friends and family don't want to be around him and drives them away. So that kind of the flaw and the fear kind of play into each other. And then next up is a secret, something your character doesn't want anyone else to know, that's really private and personal to them, that maybe motivates them to keep it a secret. Like, again, let's use the Bruce Banner character. His secret perhaps is he transforms into the Hulk. He doesn't want anyone else to know that he transforms into the Hulk. So that could be his secret, to keep that that could be the motivation to keep that secret hidden and to keep his anger under control. But since he's flawed, it's hard to keep that. It's hard for him to learn how to control that. And as the story progresses, perhaps he is able to mature and control it better as he becomes an older Bruce Banner, or perhaps something happens that makes it extremely difficult for him. He suffers a loss, and now he has a hard time controlling his emotional state. So think about that, and when you create the flaws, imperfections, and secrets of your main character. Okay, so that's kind of a basic way I create my character list. These are really important to use for your characters so you can get to know them, you flesh them out. So when you write your story, you can be consistent and through your series, so you know who they are. And remember that it's a living, breathing thing. It changes as your character changes and grows. And so make sure you keep those updated so you know your character and you can keep up with all the changes that happens to your character throughout your story or series. I also recommend to make these for your antagonist. It is really vital to know who your antagonist is. He or she is the other part of the story that's driving your character, that is an impasse for your character. So you need to know what motivates them. What's their greatest fear? What are they terrified of what's happening? Perhaps that fear is motivating them to do what they're doing in your story. So be sure to know your antagonist. And I also recommend to do this for your game changers, your really important characters in your story that, alongside with your antagonist and your main character, make things happen. Know these characters. These they're important. If they're changing things in your story, if they're that important, you need to know who they are and what drives them every day and what their fears are. I have character lists for all my game changers. Sarah, Seven, Michael, even though they're not main characters, I know who they are. I know how they'll react in certain situations, or something that comes up that's a catastrophe. I know how they would handle that emotionally, and what they would end up planning to do. and respond to that. So make sure you know your characters and your story. Now, you don't need to have a giant character list for every character in your story. If they're a little character and they're not that important, you may don't need that much on them. But make sure for, like I said, your main character, your antagonist, your game changers, you know them. And on Wednesday, I will upload the form on my blog that I'm going to use for my writing club this year. I'm tweaking it, getting it ready for the next year, and I'll upload that and I'll post it on Facebook when it is ready, and it will be ready on Wednesday. Like I said, you can use that form if you want to, but you don't have to. You definitely can make your own. You can make it as in-depth or as simple as you want, but I thought I'd put it up there just in case you guys want something to use. You feel free to use it. Alright guys, that's it for me today. I hope this video was useful, and if it was, please give me a thumbs up. If you want to see more writing tip videos from me, or perhaps my new upcoming book trailers will be coming out soon for episode 4, The Prisoner, please subscribe. If you want to see what the Freaks series is all about, I have the first 3 chapters of Freaks episode 1 of The Guardian on my blog, which is also where I'll be posting on Wednesday the form for the character development, and I'll leave that linked down below. If you're interested in reading my Freaks series, Freaks Episode 1, The Guardian, Episode 2, The Messenger, Episode 3, The Rebel, are currently available on Barnes & Noble, Amazon, and Books A Million, and I'll leave those links down below. Alright guys, I try to post videos every other week. Hope you have an awesome next 2 weeks, and I'll see you guys next time.